recording. And good. Well, first of all, welcome everyone to, this is kind of the pre-training informational webinar for Youth Astronet. We're very excited that to welcome our second cohort. Our first cohort of teachers started in February, and you're the second cohort of educators, and we've learned a lot from the first group of educators who joined us, so we expect we'll learn even more from you guys as we go along. The overview of what we'll try and talk about in the next 40 minutes or so. We'll give you some background about what Youth Astronet is, who we are, the project team implementing this project, and then what to expect from the training, which starts next week, and then answer any questions that you may have about this program, about what you've gotten yourselves into. So the core team is here at the Harvard-Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics, and that team is composed of myself, Mary DeSalt. I'm the project director for the Youth Astronet program. Erica Wright, who is behind me and on her own screen, who is the online community coordinator. So as you all get accounts for the Youth Astronet online community, quite a bit you'll be getting emails from Erica about how that works. Frank Sinkowitz is our telescope engineer, and you'll be learning more about our robotic network of telescopes called Micro-Observatory, which is the key tool that students have access to through this program and allows them to do all kinds of investigations. And the fourth member of our core team is Aladdin Ibrahim, who is the web developer, creating the website and all the online processing tools. And so he's not on this webinar today, but he definitely wants to hear from you about any glitches you may find or improvements you may suggest. There are other members of the team you'll hear about occasionally who are mainly affiliated with the research project that's associated with the program. And one name you should remember from that group is Annette Trenga, because I think you may all already have possibly gotten an email from her, and I'll talk about that in a bit. So the Harvard-Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics is in Cambridge, Massachusetts. That's where we're sitting right now, in this building that's at the upper right of the screen here. And it's actually one of the largest centers for astronomical research in the world. It's part a Smithsonian Institution research unit and partly the Department of Astronomy and Harvard College Observatory. So the staff who works here includes many astronomers, all the computer software specialists who help make the research go, all kinds of engineers. We actually have an engineering lab that builds spacecraft. Down in the lower right here is telescopes from the NASA's Solar Dynamic Observatory, and those telescopes that are now in space were actually built here in Cambridge. We have telescopes all over the world, and we actually just today finished a training for some of the research and development staff, STEM professionals around the observatory, to serve as online mentors to your students in classrooms. So you'll have access to more people than just our core team. Okay, so we also have a science education department, which is where the Youth Astronet project sits, and we develop all kinds of programs, science exhibits, tools for learning, and conduct educational research. And this project includes our key tool, which is the Micro-Observatory Robotic Telescope Network. And this project gives your students access to our network of 5 little telescopes. They are 6-inch reflecting telescopes. This is a picture of the 2 that are in Arizona. We have one on our roof today. Actually, in fact, I think I can bring into the picture here a live video view of the telescope on the roof. There seems to be some work being done around it. There's some caution tape, but I think I have a live view of the one in Arizona as well. And of course, they're all facing down because they aren't used much in the day, unless we're doing a solar observation. And it appears that the clouds have once again covered the sky here in Cambridge, so we won't be doing that. So this program is funded by the National Science Foundation. It is a expansion of other programs that we've piloted through other projects. We've had 10 years of experience engaging students and teachers and out-of-school educators in using our robotic telescopes. And so this project tries to put together everything we've learned. And the NSF program under which it's funded is called the iTest program, which is specifically aimed at engaging youth in authentic science, technology, and engineering that will help stimulate kids to be interested in potential STEM careers. So the tagline for the project is helping prepare a diverse, skilled, and innovative STEM workforce. Now, that's not to say we expect everyone who goes into the program to be interested in being an astronomer, because in fact, the skills that kids learn in using the robotic telescopes and image processing are transferable across many different science domains. In fact, image processing is used almost in every field that you can think of, from oceanography to medical imaging to engineering. So the intended outcomes for young participants in this program are both knowledge, attitudes, and skills. So we want them to, as they pursue projects, learn some science concepts, to learn some skills of problem solving, and as well as new uses of technology. Learn some skills of data analysis, observing, pursuing an investigation, drawing conclusions, and gain an increased understanding of the importance of technology, not only in science, but really in all fields these days. So the kind of long-term goal is we want youth to develop science identity, kind of interest in science, and an identity as someone who can contribute to science learning. I want to give an overview of the essential aspects of the project, because while we have a lot of curriculum materials to use, we aren't prescribing your use of any of them. You have a lot of flexibility in how you'll decide to implement, and the training will include opportunities to explore that. The essential elements of the program are that youth learn to control our telescopes and learn to use software to process the images that come back from the telescopes. That you engage them in whatever other hands-on and online activities help them interpret their images, ultimately to create a capstone project. So that's the other essential element of any implementation of Youth Astronet, is that whatever you and your students do, at the end of it, you want to create some kind of product from their images, and that product might be, you see the kids in the upper left here are some 5th and 6th graders who are creating a physical exhibition from their images. Down here, a slightly more polished physical exhibition. I'm going to bring in actually to the screen. Here's a capstone project of a group of youth in a STEM technology center. They each created 30-second videos, and I'll just play you a quick one. I particularly like the credits. At any rate, I just wanted to highlight that the kinds of capstone projects that students do using their work to tell a story can really be up to your and your students' imagination. Some other aspects of the project are, as we've conceived it using this new online community aspect, each of your students will have, and you will have your own personalized online workspace. We have a whole set of resources and activities for self-paced learning that the training will introduce you to and have you explore. I think I mentioned at the beginning that we have STEM mentors who are also part of the online community. So if those mentors can comment on students' work, students can ask them about their careers, or you can even arrange for a live webinar interactive Q&A with a STEM mentor. The project includes, we're going to try and roll out opportunities for parental participation. Actually, I think a class already might have created their own forum where they talk about their parents' astronomy interactions. I can't remember, maybe I just started that one. And this key aspect is the one thing we want to make sure you're aware of before we start the project. Right now, there's a program, the Youth Astronet program, which you've signed up to be involved in. And at this point, there's an associated research study. And so we're asking educators who are joining us now to agree to be participants of the research study, meaning you agree to answer a pre and post survey yourself and help facilitate your students in participating. And I'll talk about that in a minute. Here's an example of the kinds of survey questions that are helping us to research what are the strategies involved in this online community and STEM education project that actually do end up stimulating student interest in science. And so students take a pre and post survey that includes questions like these. It's not a, well, there's a couple of content questions. It's not a test. It's more of a survey of their opinions and interests. So as an educator participant, we're asking that you be willing to participate and take, actually probably more than a pre and post survey. We'll have 3 surveys, a pre-workshop survey, a post-workshop survey, and a post-implementation. We want to find out from you what worked and what didn't at the end of your implementation with students. And that you'd be willing to facilitate the parental consenting project process for the youth that you have participating. And what that means is we'll provide you with consent parental permission forms that you send the kids home with and collect back. And Erica helps to coordinate that with you in terms of telling you how to get forms back and things like that. Are there any questions at this point? I just want to stop before I keep going. All right. So the online portal is something that you'll have classroom accounts for you and your students, but during the training we have an educators portal, and that's where you will do your own learning over the next few weeks. And that portal has threaded discussion forums, and it has activities to pursue. Did you end up showing them some of the portal a little bit? Okay. Actually, before I get to the portal, I'll just say a little bit more about the telescopes for if you are unfamiliar with them. You ask for an image during the day, and at night, this is a movie of the telescope in Arizona. At night, they go and aim at the object you asked for and take an image, and then put the next day, put that image in your online account. And so you can take images of the solar system, of stars and nebula and galaxies, and it's all automated. There's no human in the loop. The telescopes, you set the parameters of exposure time and other things that will teach you, will help you learn how to control the telescope. Yeah, okay, so let's go, before we do image processing, let's just take a look at the portal itself quickly, which I have somewhere over here. This is the public interface to the microobservatory telescopes. Anyone can use these, but right down here we have the Youth Astronet portal, which is specifically for this project, a customized interface, and you will get an account. So if you'll see that there's an educator portal to the project, a parent portal to the project, and a youth, and actually the activity portal is for everyone. So during this training, over the next 3 weeks, we're going to ask you to, in a self-paced way, do some activities both on the educator portal and on the youth activity portal, so that you get used to how everything works. And if I go to that activity portal now, you can see that there's some information about the project, about the telescopes, but then there's discussion forums, so students can ask questions, and here's an example of a question that came in recently from a student. This class had arranged for a live interaction with Frank, our telescope engineer, and afterwards the student had a question. Apparently the student knew a little bit about resistors, because Frank shows the guts of our robotic telescope. And so the student wondered, how many resistors does a telescope make? And Frank had actually never thought about that before, so he had to do a little research on it. At any rate, there's here's another forum in which this educator had asked her students to post the images they had created. And so here's students all posting their images. So you can see the kind of things that are on the interaction on the portal. Other things I should show at this point? I think that's good for now because the training will do it. Okay, so I'm going to get back. Oh, one of the key things students learn is how to actually process the digital images that come back from the telescope. And this is really where both students' creativity, their aesthetic sense, their imagination, and math and analysis skills all come together. We have an online browser base, so you don't need to download any software, an online tool for students to enhance and colorize their images, to make measurements, to investigate bright and dim parts of the image. There's a lot that you can do with the online image processor, and that learning how to use that will be part of the training over the next few weeks. As I mentioned earlier, as a youth astronet educator, implementing the program with youth, you have the opportunity to schedule and ask for virtual field trips. Here's actually Frank giving a virtual field trip of his lab and showing a group of girls here a CCD detector. One of our STEM mentors in the project is Joe DiPasquale, who actually is a professional science imager. So all the skills and activities that the students learn to do through Youth Astronet, they're actually using the same tools and same techniques as professional astronomers. So let me give an overview of the training. So basically, after this information seminar, you'll be getting login information from Erica, and over the next 3 weeks or so, you should plan to spend about 8 to 10 hours of self-paced exploration of that online portal, and that's including attending a couple of live webinars. We kick off with a live webinar next week, and then we have a follow-up one kind of in the middle of the training period, and then we have an optional wrap-up webinar that first week of June. And the kinds of things you'll be doing is using the forums, using the telescope interface, taking images, posting on forums, and we'll have a training checklist, basically, of things to make sure you've done, and so that you'll be ready to implement with your own students. And these are the goals of what we think you'll get out of the training, just so you know ahead of time. Here's what we think you'll get out of this next 3 weeks. A repertoire of skills and strategies for implementing the program, and we know some of you have astronomy background, and some of you may have no astronomy background at all, but you know how to work with kids, and so we hope you'll be able to learn a little astronomy, learn how to use our telescope system, and again, be able to look at a variety of different curricular resources that we have on the online portal. As a member of the project, you are becoming a member of a community that can learn and share with each other. And so we've found that a lot of the educators who are implementing so far have done some great things that we hadn't seen before. So it's really nice to be able to see how others are using these tools and resources with their students. And so we hope that that'll be a real benefit to you. And the outcome of our online workshop is a capstone project for you, just as our our program model for Youth Astronet is that kids learn how to use the telescopes, they learn some content and skills, and then they demonstrate what they learned by creating a capstone project. At the end of this training, your job is to create your own wiki page, and there's tools right in the forum of how you would plan to implement the program. 5, not microscopes, that's right, telescopes. The other 2, that's a great question. So Luke's asked, we said we have 5 telescopes, 2 in Arizona, 1 in Cambridge. Where are the other 2? The other 2 are actually in Frank's lab with their guts open, being maintained. Typically we have 3 online at any time, and so 1 may come off the roof and another 1 go out. So that's how that works. Yeah. Actually, let me go back. Are there any questions at this point? Give a little wait time here. Okay. Well, so here are the immediate next steps for you to get involved right away in the training. One thing is, in order for us to create an account for you, we need a Gmail. We need you to create a new Gmail address for use with your educator account. And let me show you why that's necessary here. Let's see, somewhere here. Where is it? Here we go. Where do I go? Users, yeah. Right, participants. And let's choose the Cepheid group. Okay. So here's an educator from cohort 1, and she created a unique Gmail account, rpastem@gmail.com, just for this. So going to Google and creating a separate Gmail account from her usual one. And the reason for that is Gmail has this aspect to it that only Gmail has, which allows you to use the part before the @ sign, add a plus, and all of those become unique emails to our online portal system, but all those emails would go to your master email. And the issue is, we don't want any personally identifiable data of students. We don't want their emails we don't want to have to use their emails to sign them up to our online portal. And so this is a way that allows us to quickly create group accounts for you and your students. So the assignment for you between, well, actually as soon as possible, right? Are you going to send an email out about how to do this, or you you're going to create a new Gmail address and send that to Erica for specific use with your Youth Astronet account. Second immediate next step is Annette Trenga probably already sent you a consent email, and that's the consent to participate and take the pre and post surveys. And we need you to reply to that right away, because before we can do our first formal webinar, we're going to need you all to take this pre-survey. And to ensure that it's a pre-survey and not a post-survey, we need you to take it before we start the webinars. So once Annette gets your consent, your email saying, I agree to participate, then we'll send you the link to the pre-survey. Okay. So that's kind of the overview. We're thrilled to have you all as part of our next cohort. We have educators who've indicated they're doing summer programs. Educators have indicated they might not use it till next fall. All of those are great. Once a Youth Astronet member, always a Youth Astronet member. We're hoping that this cohort will implement sometime within this calendar year. You will also be able to use the online tools in the future as well. Any questions? I'm going to unmute everybody so that if you wanted to talk, you could. Oh, right. Okay. Sorry about that. I'm actually going to mute you again for a second. Erica mentioned the minimum requirements for participation is that you're able to engage a group of at least 10 kids in a program of Youth Astronet that's at least 8 to 10 hours. Now, a lot more than that is possible. You can, we have one educator who's been using it every week for a couple of months now, and we have other educators who did an intensive 1 week kind of workshop with their students. So there's many different program models, but we're asking that at a minimum you're able to engage 10 kids, 10 kids in grades 5, 6, 7, and 8. That's who it's targeted for at least 8 or 10 hours of interaction. Okay, I'm not seeing other questions. Anything I missed? That's it. Yeah.
The first training will show them how to do some of that image processing.
Yeah, so at the first training next week, and again, that first email about this also had the times for we have several options to attend for the first webinar, and that first webinar will really show you how to take images using the telescope and how to process them using that browser-based image enhancement tool. Awesome. Well, thank you all. Wait, here's my thank you slide. Thank you all for joining us. And again, if you have any questions, Erica's kind of the go-to person. Let's see. There's her email right there. And we'll be in touch about your accounts and how to log in for the first time after you take the pre-survey, which we'll also give you the link to. All right. I'm going to stop the recording.